earlier, the GameCube having the dual, GameCube had a Z button up on top, and then it had the L and R.
Yeah, but
it didn't have
it had dual.
It didn't have a secondary button on the top left.
Effect, isn't it?
But you could get secondary edition controllers with something called you could do it with a turbo.
I keep thinking GameCube.
Or a program feature. So like on certain fighting games, you could program a certain combination into it by like holding the button for 30 seconds or some shit like that, and then you program it in, and then you could just tap that.
Yeah,
and you would immediately do the
had left, right, and then a Z button. I'm so freaking used to playing.
And some of the second
PS3,
hand,
PS4,
like from Mad Cat, right? From Mad Cat or whatever it was,
had the four.
It had the fourth one on the top for the GameCube that was either turbo or program. Yeah. Not always both. Some did have both, but not all of them did. But it's kind of like how you and I both greatly enjoyed the Neo Geo, which I've never spoken to anybody besides you and the people that you know who knew what a Neo Geo was before they talked to me. Samurai Showdown, Last Blade, Metal Slug, which Metal Slug didn't just come out for the Neo Geo, but it is a Neo Geo game, to my knowledge, is the company that made it. Now
SNK.
SNK. Now it's contributed to, like, I think it comes in under Capcom, too.
No,
which Capcom isn't even its own company anymore.
Capcom has nothing to do with SNK. It's like, if you're talking like old school Atari, or not Atari, but like old school arcade, when you see like Capcom versus SNK.
Yeah, didn't they put out a Capcom versus SNK?
Yes. The thing is that
Marvel versus Capcom and Capcom versus SNK. Now, Marvel versus Capcom took off.
Yeah, but that was...
Capcom versus SNK kind of fell to the wayside and nobody cares about it anymore.
I actually think it's still one... Well, it's up there. I mean, I still like it. I believe it was the first port from fighting series games.
Right, and then Mortal Kombat and DC did their whole bit.
Yeah. Well, they
put out a Mortal Kombat versus DC. They also put out a in DC Injustice Gods Among Us. You could pick up at least one Mortal Kombat character. I know you could get Scorpion. I've never played the second one. Most of my friends won't play the first one with me unless I swear on like my fucking unborn children that I won't play Green Arrow.
That's console based games.
Right.
They never
versus arcade systems.
They never released that for arcade systems.
I got to give it to the other arcade systems that we played, because we actually used to have like a little man cave type setup. We should have come up with a better name for it than man cave,
it was
like the Nerd Den or something. I don't know.
That was the cool thing to be
right. We had a stage. We had all of our musical instruments because I had like 2 or 3 guitars at the time. I think I still had 2.
Yeah.
You had a set of drums and a guitar. We spent like a week putting this collage on the wall, cutting up all my old Nintendo Power and Game Informers.
That's the biggest
and
thing I
like
regret.
That. Right.
I still not actually using them, but where they had to get left, because dude, we had so
it would have
much
been great if we had
glue.
like bought like a poster board
and then just
stuck them to it.
Up.
And made a badass, because some of the collage sections were really fucking cool. We worked really hard
Funny
on
as
tying
hell.
on.
Some of the shit you had to really look for.
Right. It was like a little Where's Waldo of fucked up video game shit. Crossovers and whatnot.
The inappropriate, like Mario and Princess Peach.
Right.
It's like, you had to look for that shit.
Right. And, we had a couple of arcade systems set up in there, and they were a lot of fun, and I got to give it to the other ones. Like, the Neo Geo was great, because you could switch games.
Back then.
You could switch a lot of different games between it. I had hundreds. Oh, my God. We would have to come to an agreement that, like, one game was able to be changed out, like, once a week or once every other week or something like that, and we had to agree on 3 games, which were typically Samurai Showdown. I think it was 1 that you liked.
I liked 1.
5 that I liked
them all. I had all of them.
You left the Last Blade in there for me, and then we would switch out the last one. Most of the time it stayed as Metal Slug, but every once in a while somebody else that lived in the house with us would want to play something like bowling, which, oh my God, that was the worst fucking like 2 weeks of my life. I got bored of playing the fighting games and I wanted to play something else. And here they are playing bowling. I'm like, are you fucking... Like, who plays bowling on an arcade?
Just saying.
Same people that play golf on an arcade?
I had that one too, even though we never played it.
Well, you can go down and play golf at one of the bars here in town, which is garbage, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say that this one is not as funny as the last one is, and it's also taking longer.
Well, whatever.
I'm cool with it. I mean, what's worse gonna happen? I'm gonna have to start posting it on Saturday night so that by Sunday it's actually
it
decent. Took 4 hours for the last one. But anyways, so like the other arcade systems though, they were more niche. Like the Ninja Turtles, the original Ninja Turtles, which I don't even think was the first one.
It was.
Was it the first one?
Yeah.
See, now that one, like, it worked all the time. Everything that you wanted to do worked when you wanted to do it. The moves were not difficult to figure out.
No, you literally had 2 buttons.
You could play it for hours. And those 2 buttons actually had a substantial amount of combinations that you could do with them. Well, like 5, but...
Not even.
Well, no.
You had a jump and an attack, which would give you an action. Then you had an action and then a jump.
Right.
That was it. Well, actually, if you tapped jump and action at the same time, you would do
every turtle had like a different one of my favorites was Donatello, and he would do like this wide swing with his stick while in the air, which had like the most range out of any of them. But also like Carnival. I used to spend hours playing that game. We would have little competitions.
We played that shit so much that it took us 5 minutes to walk through from start to end.
Right. The only reason it took so long was because of the little cutscene things that happened in between. Same with Metal Slug. We would get so far in that game, and the only reason it took us so long to do it was because Metal Slug has predetermined time set cutscenes on it.
Yeah.
Which you couldn't skip.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you they put out a Metal Slug on the Android phone?
Yeah. They've been porting over a lot of that stuff.
It was fucking garbage. I mean, coming from somebody who played the original Metal Slugs, oh my god, it was horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I intentionally kept the Neo Geo cabinet just because.
But it's a lot like movies or music. Somebody who has played a substantial amount of video games like I have, and I still haven't played as many as quite a few other people. I'm also not as good as quite a few other people. I mean, I'm not
we're not fucking pros here.
Right. But you get talking about these things with people, and everybody has their own tastes. Mm-hmm. I mean, we could argue until the sun comes up tomorrow about whether or not Mario is a really good game. And I will argue to the death that Mario isn't really that great of a game. I mean, some of them have been good, and the rest of them have been trash. And I will hold to that. There's nothing you can... Like Mario Sunshine that we talked about in the last one.
Yeah.
It had its moments. But overall, it really wasn't that great of a game. There was a lot of stupid stuff that you had to do through... A lot of stupid hoops you had to jump through that didn't really add that much to the storyline.
It didn't. My favorite part about a lot of games anymore, even back then, was just running around trying to find any of the glitches. Where you should be going down this path, can we take a path that nobody would think about?
Well, and you're the guy who would spend 15 minutes trying to get over a single building that you can't get over. And I'm sitting there next to you going, dude, move on, man. It's been 45 minutes. Yeah, it's funny because it's been 47. It's been 45 minutes and you've been jumping at this same building. Come on, man. And then you would do it, and I would be irritated. Because here I'm telling you can't do it, you did it, and we both wasted, 45 minutes of our life that we can't get back.
But I didn't have to deal with that asshole.
You didn't have to deal with that asshole, and that is something that I feel... Older games, you had an ability... newer games, you can do it. I mean, I had a friend on Halo, which isn't that new of a game, but Halo on Xbox One, Halo 1, that he had played online. Yeah. So he had all these little neat tricks, which made the game super unfun to play with him. He would, use these super jump things to get up out of range where he could shoot us, but we couldn't shoot him. It's like the bunker
down on the beach that I would wedge myself backwards
prick.
Into the bunker, and I would glitch.
Which Halo game was that? Was it Halo 3?
The first Halo.
Was it Halo?
It was the first Halo for Xbox One.
I remember playing one of them on 360, because I had the 360... Halo 3 Xbox.
Well, you shouldn't say Xbox One now, because technically we have Xbox One now. Even though Xbox...
Yeah, first Xbox.
We had the big black brick.
Come on. PlayStation keeps it in chronological order. Figure it the fuck out, Microsoft.
Fucking Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, fucking genius.
Sure. Genius my ass. Boy, people better do their homework on that fucker.
Well, it was pretty clever of him to steal the living shit out of a bunch of technology.
Well, that too.
Well, I mean,
IBM.
Steve Jobs did the same thing.
He goes in. IBM's like, "Do you have the software?" He's like, "Yeah, I can get you this software." He goes to some fucking guy living in his mom's freaking garage. Says, "Hey, I'll give you $10,000 for your program." Takes the fucking program. If he probably even did a few tweaks and shit to it, and then gives it off to fucking IBM for fucking X amount of dollars.
They've got a movie about him now.
Which one?
I think it's just called Gates.
Probably. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah,
good for him, though.
Yeah, good for him. I mean...
Yeah, good for him.
Guy figured out how to become a fucking business tycoon.
Ripping people off?
Well, more or less. Probably one of the smartest things he ever did was that little sub-thing in Microsoft, the Microsoft operating system, where, you have to have the code for proof of purchase. Mm-hmm. And if you try to rip it off or anything, they can figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah, fucking figure it out. And yeah, you can end up getting in a lot of trouble ripping off Microsoft operating systems.
Problem is with Microsoft, when they come out with a program that actually fucking works, they're like, "Oh no, we got to fuck this shit up somehow."
Right. Oh man, moving from Windows 98, to Vita, which I'm pretty sure is a substantial jump, but
they're all shit.
I was never super good at computers. I can make them do most of the things that I need them to do. I can do basic rudimentary stuff. I'm better at computers than a lot of people that I know, but not as good as a lot of people that I know. as full, that's how percentages work. I'm only I'm more than half full on one, but I'm also more than half full on the other, because that's totally how ratios and percentages work, Totally. It comes out to something like 130%. That's even, right? That's normal. Fuck.
Do you realize, how much tech support I've given people lately on their phones and on their computers?
That is worrisome.
You know what I tell them? Tell them just what the real tech support tells you. Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on? What do you know? Shit works.
Woo! System restart totally works. That's something that I didn't like about
plugged in?
The PlayStation 3. I don't know if it was because after having to do it, or after it getting unplugged, or power outage and things like that. And I have all my game systems set up on a power bar. I have a really old school, super old school surge protector. Mm-hmm. It's that fucking big, and it's got the standard amount of plugins on the back. Half of them don't work.
What's the standard amount?
And I think it's 8. How many does yours have right over there?
I don't fucking know. I don't pay attention to that shit. I buy the cheapest fucking one.
Question. Yeah, right. $3. Mine is huge. It's like this box. We got it. Well, we got our first computer. Now our first computer was the green text on the black screen, had the printer that had the guidelines down the side, and the little printing thing had little teeth on it, and you had the paper was all folded so it would feed through, and then you had to tear each paper apart and then tear the perforated sides off of it. And that's how I did my first actual paper in junior high. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we were poor.
What's sad
Get over
is kids these days won't ever get the joy of that experience.
Wait, there was joy in that?
Oh, yeah.
Mess up, tear through the page, have to scroll through and find that page and reprint it and hope it doesn't print the whole goddamn thing again.
Not to mention, if you ever got a paper jam with one of those,
oh my god,
a train wreck.
It's murder. And the ink cartridges were hard to find because they were super outdated. But none of that's the point. The point is, we got this real old school fucking...
Hearst, what is it? Hearst or Enterprise, one of the car rental places? It's fucking stupid.
Hertz?
But could be Hertz. Not like what you get
Hertz,
hauled off.
It.
Hertz, not like what you get drove to the cemeteries in.
Hearse.
Oh, is that what
Hearse is what you're in on your way to the cemetery. A hearse.
I would say you're in some kind of Hertz if you're in one of those.
Oh, fair enough. Something went wrong.
Something went wrong.
Horribly wrong.
Horribly
wrong.
It's fucking stupid.
I told you not to use that way.
That's what happens when you get your fingers caught in a fucking printer.
That's what happens when... That's what happens when you dig through an electrical outlet with a fork looking for metal spaghetti.
I don't even fucking know what the hell you're supposed to mean by that.
Wires, metal spaghetti. You know what? Never mind.
Fucking stupid. Fucking stupid.
I'm a lot of things, but I'm only stupid sometimes.
I like spaghetti.
I like soap.
I like cheese.
I like cereal. Fucking cheese from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Oh, that
blue and cheese.
That show was undervalued, underproduced, under everything.
It's on Hulu now.
Is it now?
Yes.
I would probably watch like 10 minutes of it and be like, why did I like this?
Why did I even watch this shit?
That happens to me with so many old shows, like even going so like we're completely off topic at this point, but going with the old game systems and stuff, old movies and TV shows like the original Lost in Space, the old school one.
Oh, that was the shit back in the day.
Yeah, and when I was watching it as a small child, because my parents had bought like the full box set
VHS.
Yeah, well, VHS.
What's a VHS, kids?
I actually don't think I know what it stands for.
Fuck, I forget. I don't think it really matters. Worked
off of magnets. That's all you need to know. That's why you couldn't jostle them too much. It would fuck things up. You start getting like I can explain it to you, but it's gonna take some time. Anyways, they bought the whole like box set, and the show started off in black and white, and it wasn't until like the second or third season, and it only ran for like 7 seasons, which is substantial for an older show. But then it switched into color somewhere along those lines. So I watched those as a little kid, and I was like, wow, that's cool. And that was even with Star Wars. Like, I grew up watching Star Wars and Star Trek. And then I went back and watched him as a teenager. I was like, oh, God, this was garbage.
I feel your pain on that
one. What is that one? They just made one with Johnny Depp in it not that long ago. Where he's a vampire. He's Barnabas Collins. It was like a soap opera or some shit. My dad loved it.
Family Values? Fuck, I don't know. I know what you're talking about. Family Values.
I always think of Darkness Falls, which was the movie about the Tooth Fairy.
I know which one you're talking about, though.
Yeah, dude, like, in that movie, they had, like, one of those rubber bats attached to a string. But every time Barnabas Collins would turn into the bat, it's like flopping all over the place, and they'd have this like chirping sound in the background.
Old school Monsters effects.
Monsters. Oh God. You ever play the original Addams Family video game for like, I think it was for Super Nintendo?
I believe so.
Addams Family Values. That was another one of those stupid games that had like the little fucking code for it. Oh my God, that game was... It was amazing when I played it, and then it was garbage when I got older and played it again.
I think the only game for like the NES that I can still stand to play on a consistent basis is
this is why I hate
Mario.
You.
I love saying Mario instead of Mario.
Oh, what does my mom call Luigi? Luigi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luigi. Oh my God.
I want to say Luigi or some shit.
No, it was Luigi, and that drove me nuts as a kid. That you would, well, I mean, it wasn't until I was closer to a teenager, but you would call him Mario, and Mom would call the other guy Luigi. Like, you realize it's Mario and Luigi, right?
We're like, yeah.
And they'd be like, shut up. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I can say it however I want. But this is also a group of people who say things like, "Yunt too?"
Yunt. Samage.
Apparently it's like with a G in it. I realized that.
Why don't you just fucking call him Jumper Man?
That would be incredibly accurate. Shigeru Miyamoto's landlord.
Jumper all over your ass when you didn't pay the rent.
Jumperman just didn't test well enough. Like, Link was originally supposed to be called Kristoff. Yeah, named after Shigeru Miyamoto's nephew.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And the name didn't test well enough.
No.
They decided to... I mean, you gotta get... You gotta give it to Shigeru Miyamoto, though. I mean, Super Scope was a garbage game. And for anybody who didn't know, the first game that Shigeru Miyamoto ever made was Mario, where he was climbing up the little ladder after DK trying to save the Princess Paulina. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are confused about that, too. The names came from people around him. And he took... While he was working for the company, he took the Super Scope arcade games, which flopped hard. Probably because they were trash.
I have one of the original cabinets that those were in. Did you know Donkey Kong was originally released in the red Super Scope cabinets and not the traditional blue like everybody thinks?
That does not surprise me.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Yeah, he reprogrammed them and made what was to be Jumperman. Name didn't test well, so he made the name of the main character after the landlord of the lot they were working on.
Jumperman.
Mario, who was married to a woman named Paulina.
Mario didn't actually have a name until the first arcade version, right. And which at the same time...
Because the original game was called Donkey Kong, which means King Monkey.
Well, you had Donkey Kong, you had Donkey Kong Jr., and then Donkey Kong 3, but anyways, point is...
What do you mean?
They made 3 original arcades. Donkey Kong Jr. and
okay,
Donkey
that's
Kong
right.
3.
That's right. I'm thinking of Donkey Kong Country that they released the third one for, and
Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo, and it didn't have Donkey Kong in it. It was based around Dixie and the little baby.
Talking about Diddy Kong?
No. Diddy Kong was in the first and second.
Yeah.
Dixie was also in the second.
Donkey Kong was in...
But in Donkey Kong Country 3... Donkey Kong was not in that game.
What was it, like his son?
It was Dixie Kong, the female with the blonde hair from the second one.
I think you're
and
wrong on
the
that.
little baby one that wore the jumper suit.
That was Donkey Kong Jr.
Might have been Donkey Kong Jr., but yeah, he wasn't actually in it.
Whatever happened to him?
He grew up and got addicted to meth.
I think poachers got him.
Poachers got him. Well, Donkey Kong wasn't a silverback, so why would they hunt him?
Why wouldn't you want to hunt Donkey Kong?
Because he deals with air traffic control.
He's a shit kart racer, too.
Garbage. Why would that giant-ass gorilla... And why do they call it a monkey when he's a gorilla? Which is different, inherently.
Size.
Apparently, size doesn't matter.
Apparently.
When it comes to primates.
When it comes to
of varying natures. Kart racing, Jesus Christ, that tiny little buggy underneath his giant monkey ass.
Gorilla.
Oh, yeah, correct me.
Yeah.
See over there your duck hunt gun. Now, duck hunt, that was a...
You know, they got a new zapper gun that'll actually work on the flat screens now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really actually impressive.
About that.
See, I was really disappointed when I found out that the gun for Duck Hunt would not work on a flat screen TV. Or at least on most.
It wouldn't work on any of them. Not the old CRT flat screens, it would.
Yeah, see, and I was going to say, I've heard hushed rumors across the land. There's
guys out there that
have a flat screen TV that they say it works on.
No, somebody's actually come out with a new zapper that will work on the flat screens. The only
problem
is with it,
you never had to calibrate it. Like, that bothered me.
Why? They were accurate. Now, if you dropped them, you could go in and take them apart, and refix the
right
the board and stuff.
But there was no calibration necessary, which was super weird.
It's because of the scan lines on the CRTs. Had scan lines that would just... See, even with the new zappers for the flat screens, what it does is it's... To me, on video, if you watch somebody doing a review on one, you can see it more clear on the video at least.
Right.
I haven't personally experienced using one for myself, but I know at least watching it through a camera, somebody use it.
Right.
The old one was so... Like an old CRT, when you would shoot the gun at the duck, it would leave a little white brick around where the duck was. and you could catch that for a quick second. But this blanks out the whole screen on. But you also got the new ones.
You also got extra points if you could hit them quickly enough. While they were still,
while the little white brick was still around. It was actually the longer you let them fly on the screen.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right.
You'd get more points if you get them right as they're flying off screen.
The last time I actually remember playing that game, I had to be older than 10 because I was living in the 4th Street house in Othello. And we had conned my mom into buying a couple of pizzas, and my best friend at the time and I stayed up so fucking late. So late. But then again, I was like 11, so like 10:30 was super late for me. Like, grew up in a pretty solid, strict household where, like, you know, at 8 o'clock was bedtime. And then as I got older, it started becoming almost immediately after dinner, which started being served at 10 because Dad ran his own business. Mm-hmm. So Dad would come home, we'd all eat dinner as a family. Which, whatever happened to that?
What's a family? What's
Fair
family
enough.
Dinner time?
Right. Ridiculous. Everybody wants to sit in front of the TV and play on cell phones. But I'm off topic again. My personal feelings are starting to come out. You know, but you know what always kind of confused me about the older game systems is, you know, little things like
you had to blow on the NES cartridge like a hooker.
Like a cheap one, because you were doing it for free.
Yeah.
Actually, you paid them to blow on them. Hmm. Maybe that
was a placebo. Never worked.
Right.
But it was magic.
Right. Trying to get that dust off those connectors. You know, they should have put out more of the little, like, sealer things. Because, like, you could find them where you, like, put it on the base of the cartridge so it wouldn't gather dust.
Yeah.
But even if you stood them upright so that, like, it was against the whatever you were sitting it on, they would still get dust up in the fucking...
The contacts
you can wipe the shit
dirty. Just take a pencil eraser and you're done.
Right. Pencil eraser, but we even at one point, like, one of our games would not work, and I can't remember what one it was. I think it was called Draken. It's another really obscure one. It was an RPG game. Storyline made no sense. You would be wandering around trying to figure out where you were supposed to go. And this happened every time that I played the game. Mm-hmm. Like, you rolled for your stats, like Dungeons & Dragons. Mm-hmm. You would figure out which character got which stats. You got only so many resets. And so you would have, like, a warrior, a mage, a cleric, and a rogue. Mm-hmm. And typically they would all be garbage. And so you'd be, like, the first dungeon was super easy to find. And then they'd give you, like, a general idea of where to go. And you'd be looking for it. And nighttime would hit. And it was terrifying, dude. Because if you wandered around at nighttime occasionally, like, you'd see a constellation start wiggling. Mm-hmm. And then this, like, unbeatable fucking monster would show up. And just rape your entire team, like, violently. It was horrible. But I played the game for years. Having that happen never got very far. It was brutal. Come on. There we go. I think I figured out how to fix the blur. I don't know why it keeps kicking in, though. Like, I can see the constant adjust, but... Yeah, this would be another thought if I can figure out how to edit that I'm going to totally take out. But, because what's old school? Oh, we got into this last time. I'm not getting into this with you again. You're fucking old school.
Well, yeah.
But did you ever play any of the Star Wars games for Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
Now, that was one that I never beat, but I played a lot. And I think it was... I
played the shit out of
pod racing. I think it was the New Hope. I played pod racing quite a while. F-Zero was way better.
What is it, Battlefront 3 for the GameCube?
No,
what was that, Rebel?
Oh, Rogue. The Rogue games.
It might have been the...
Rogue Squadron, where you were flying the... Which is why I already knew what was going to happen in Rogue One.
Yeah.
because the Rogue Squadron games, and the first one came out for 64.
Mm-hmm.
Last one came out for GameCube.
Yeah.
And you were a Rebel Alliance pilot, like a combat pilot. Yeah, they were pretty all right.
They got one down at GameCube, or down at Gameplay for the GameCube. 3 though, I want to pick up.
Rogue Squadron 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It wasn't a bad game. Some of the stuff was really difficult to do. Maybe it could have just been because like my hand-eye coordination wasn't as developed as a small kid, and I got better. But like killing the AT-ATs was murder.
Yeah, it just seemed like
the giant four-legged walkers.
Get it?
Yeah, like they would. So when you would attach a magnetic rope,
yeah,
you'd have to fly around, but they would like pan out the camera.
Yeah, and you had to fly
and you
like
had to
this.
guide without the camera behind you.
Yeah,
you had to guide around, and so you're like, holding the little handbrake.
Either crash or crash into the damn fucking thing.
And then the one time that you would almost be done,
no,
like the string would go too far and detach.
Yeah, and you'd be like, motherfucker.
Oh my god.
Another 10 minutes of flying around in a circle.
And you only have like 3.5 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like trying to do it super quick, and then you run into leg again, and then you fast pitch your controller across the room, and mom takes away your game system. Mm-hmm. Maybe that was just me. So that's one thing that I liked about the older game systems. A lot of the equipment was a lot more durable. And so I had more of a temper when I was younger. Like I learned how to control it a lot more. And I actually would throw a controller. I got game systems taken away from me for bouncing the controller off of somebody's head or hucking it at a wall. I throw it as hard as I can, and the little like release in the system didn't release, so the game system went with it because the controllers could be relatively heavy on some of the older game systems, like Nintendo 64, where the controller weighed almost as much as the game system.
So
you huck that in the right way, and that system's gonna flip, and it's all kinds of bad.
It's safe to say then that your gamer rage management classes did some good?
My gamer rage management class.
Or is it just that you can't afford a new paddle?
Also, yes. More than one reason. Dude, new equipment now is so expensive.
You know what's sad is a fucking PS3, wireless PS3 freaking controller will cost you, this is used, will cost you as much, if not more, than a new PS4 controller will. And then you're lucky if the fucking thing even works.
No, PS3 controllers were wireless. They had the
that's what I'm just saying. I'm talking about I'm talking about the original PS3 wireless controllers.
Yeah.
Period. The console.
I forgot
itself.
you have a wired PS4
and there's a
PS3
reason
controller.
for that.
Like fuck.
$14.
What is that garbage? And the buttons are weird. Like look at those buttons, people. Like there's like 4 extra buttons on that son of a bitch. Turbo and clear. Turbo, you cheating pussy.
Turbo was awesome.
Remember the PS2 where you had the button to turn on the analog sticks, but 3/4 of the time you couldn't use the analog sticks?
Yeah.
So like you had to use the D stick anyways, or the D-pad. Mm-hmm. You had to use the D-pad anyways, but you had these 2 analog sticks for like no reason.
It's just
fucking garbage.
Up. My point is, try to pay less than $50 for a fucking used PS3 controller nowadays.
Yeah, I haven't checked on them, but I know current game controllers are $60. Like I
went to the pawn shop to buy Phil a new wireless PS3 controller, and they wanted $60 for a shitty ass used one. They wanted $50 or $45 for a used PS4 controller, and I got them to go like $35 on a PS4 used one, and they were like, "No, we ain't fucking dropping shit on those PS3 ones."
Well, and like so. Like the pricing thing is driving me crazy because like I'm saying like a lot like a Blonde Valley girl, but
totally
like totally like then like totally, but So, my Xbox One controller, which I have yet to find an Xbox One controller that I fucking
specify like. Xbox One or...
Actual Xbox One, not first Xbox. The newer game system, the top of the line. So many Xbox friends are like, oh, Xbox is so much better. Fuck you, PlayStation. That's my argument. Fuck you, PlayStation.
Fuck you, PlayStation.
Yeah. But Xbox is the greatest game system in the world. What do you have to say to that? Fuck you, PlayStation.
PlayStation's getting as bad.
All they're doing is charging you now, which, I mean, PlayStation 3 was better than Xbox 360 because they didn't charge you. But now they are charging, and, I mean, they went so long, like, not doing the underhanded bullshit that Microsoft had to do to be able to make their money. And now they're finally hitting a niche market, and they give you a lot of stuff for free. You find the indie and underground games on PlayStation, and they're actually fun.
Ooh, what was the one that we played the shit out of it? It was the zombie one.
Z Nation.
Yeah, Z Nation. That was an underground.
Yeah. We actually got that one for free with the PlayStation 3 hack.
Yeah.
That, Wipeout, and what was... The one that we chose not to get was...
Split Second. We got
Split Second. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Split Second. It was Wipeout, or
it was Split Second.
No. We got Split Second on our own, which was a Disney game, which was actually really good.
I gotta give it to the Devils there.
Yeah.
White Devil.
I still don't think they're smart enough to beat the Devil. But the other one was that one where you're like a superhero. But you get the choice between good and bad. Oh, what was that game called?
I can't remember.
I have the second one. You're like some kind of thug style, and you use like lightning powers and shit like that. And I wasn't really interested in it at the time. Now I own the second one, and I wish we would have gotten the first one so I could play through it. But I super regret getting getting what was it? I want to say it was called Wipeout. I thought it was going to be like a surfing game or like a jet ski game, and it turned out to be some kind of futuristic car
jet
race.
Boat race or what?
It was some kind of like futuristic, like little starship racing game, which was all map based. Like they were knocking off F-Zero.
Oh yeah, old school.
The one with Captain Falcon. Yeah, no, I thought it was going to be more like some kind of water sport, but. Probably a good time to wrap it up. So, I mean, we've taken over an hour. I know this one wasn't as funny as the last one was, but I hope everybody enjoys it. Peace.